Hey Chris, I thought I'd go through some stuff on your mandolin real quick so you could have this. Think about it, ask questions. Let's see, I changed the strings. I took the strings and the bridge completely off, cleaned the top. Tried to clean up some of these marks very carefully, and I got them a little bit, not perfect, but a little bit. And there are some scarring here that we could probably touch up, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. I really like the mandolin. It's got the Gibson engraved on the tailpiece, which I'm not sure this is an original cover, but it's nice, and it looks certainly that it may have come with this. The A-40s I don't think came, they just came with a blank, but this has the Gibson on it. It does have the serial number engraved on the back of the peg head as well as on the orange label. The orange label on the base register is significant because it does help date it. My dating shows this is a 67, I think is what I came up with. It is typical of the A-40. It's got the mahogany back and sides, which is a little unusual. It gives it a warmer sound than the maple that's used on the A-50, the next model up. This model it also came in an A-40N, which was the natural top. If you looked at that video of Ricky Skaggs, he's playing one with the blonde top. And that was an A-40N, same mandolin, just a different finish. This was the bottom of the line, but these mandolins were I think they were produced from like the 40s, maybe even the 30s, but they were played a lot. I almost bought one when I was in college. It was an A-50, but it was very similar to this. I didn't buy that mandolin, but they sound just as good as their cousins, and like I said in the email, a lot of people compare them to those 20s, the teens, 19 teens and 1920s A0 or A junior models that are overhauled because they have a deeper sound. Makes them kind of nice for, especially for old time. It would be good for old time. Let's see. So I changed the strings, I lowered the action. The action's nice and low. One thing to keep in mind on these older mandolins, especially these lighter mandolins, just keep an eye on that action. If it starts to sink, it may be trouble with the bracing. I had done some research to see if the standard 40 to 11 string set that I put on here, which is the medium mandolin strings, were okay on an A-40. I didn't find anything that told me they're not, but I would just keep an eye on that action. I think I said I lowered the action. It's nice and low, and I set the intonation. The bridge did come forward a little bit to get the intonation where I wanted it, but it's good right now on all the strings. So, and you can tell that, I don't know if you know that, ring the harmonic on the 12th fret on any and all of the strings, and then fret it and listen for the same tone, same pitch. And you can use your Peterson tuner, but up here on the 12th fret they get a little squirrely. Let's see, the things I don't like or that need work. Got to get rid of the strap, man. I've got the buckle. I've taped the buckle because it beats up the mandolin. Also, I think that if you get a strap that can go up around, say between these pegs, it gets it away from where you're playing here. I found with this one on here, I actually took it off while I changed strings so I could clean it up. I put it back on. But I have a guy that I use, Pat Sullivan. He's made I think every one of the straps that I use on all my instruments. Good guy and reasonable, and he actually has some vintage leather. I think the most expensive strap I've ever bought from him may have been $70. Most of them are like $35 or $40. But for a good instrument, to protect the instrument and something that's comfortable. Once you get the length right, or I can help you with that, if you want to order one from Pat Sully at some point. But for now, leave this on so it doesn't scratch up. Let's see what else. Oh, the only other thing is these tuners. I tried my best to loosen them up. They are very, very tight. And I don't think it has to do with, these are a little bit heavier gauge strings. I think the previous set you had was, I think they were 38 to 10s. Instead of being 40 to 11s, they were 38 to 10s, may even been 36 to 10s. So these are a little heavier gauge strings, but that shouldn't affect the tuners. They have a little hole in them dab of like 301, you could try that. I'm thinking that probably the thing to do is the next string change is to go ahead and remove these and clean them from the inside. You'll be able to access the gears, and I suspect they're kind of gunked up because they are very tight. You'll notice that, and I ran them back and forth and thought about WD-40 or something in that little hole, but I thought the better of it. I thought I would leave that. That's about it. So let me play a couple tunes. It plays good up and down the neck. Let me just do arpeggio here. You won't play much up here. I don't play much up here either, but it does sounds good. It sounds clear. It's got a little loss. All mandolins do up here, but this one sounds good. Let's see what. Oh, pickguard. Pickguard's great. If you decide to take this off to play with it, be careful with it because it's not meant for pressure. You're gonna have to lay off of it. If it's in your way, you can take it off, but don't lose this. This adds a lot of value to this little mandolin, having that original pickguard with it. Do not lose that. It is the original bridge. Appears to be the original bridge. Appears to be the original tailpiece, except for the cover. The tuners appear. Everything's original. I think longer term, if I were going to keep it, I probably would replace the nut. Have somebody replace the nut. I wouldn't do that. It is a plastic nut, and when I took the strings off, I cleaned up both the nut and the bridge. And the nut is a little bit. It's got some jagged spots in it. I didn't want to get in there too aggressively to lower that action at the first fret, but it is a nice sounding mandolin.